Hello everyone, in today's video I'm going to be breaking down the Ethereum tab in the Champs Only extension. Let's go ahead and begin. Make sure you watch the initial setup to get to this point. So the first things I do want to go ahead and go through is the wallet icon. This is the current active wallet. This is the wallet you use to get access to the extension that has the pass on it. It will show your balance and some parts of the wallet address here. Then for information, it says the extension uses the active MetaMask wallet. If you're experiencing issues connecting a wallet, simply disconnect the extension from the connected side in the settings in MetaMask. Close and restart the extension so you can reattach your wallets. So please keep that in mind. Moving over to the gas calculator part, you can see you can go ahead and calculate gas. You can enter the mint price, the gas limit, priority fee, GWAI. You can set the gas, which I'll go through in a moment, and it'll show you the fee. So let's say, for example, the mint price was 0.1 ETH. Let's say the limit was 50,000. And let's say the priority fee was 5. Let's say the GWAI was 100. You can see the fee gets set, and I can set gas. Now, if I go over to the toolbox here, you will see this is where you can go ahead and manage gas presets and wallet connections. You can see that the limit, max priority, max gas got sent over from the calculator when I clicked on the set gas button. So that is pretty useful. And for the monitoring delay, if you do want to change it, you need to restart the extension. And this is based in milliseconds. So you can change it from 5,000 milliseconds upwards. You can't go below 5,000 milliseconds. So please keep that in mind. Now that I've gone ahead and broke down that, let's get into the bulk of this extension page. The first thing we're going to go ahead and enter is the contract address. Now I've gone ahead and picked out a contract I want to focus on in today's video, and it is the Doodles contract. To go ahead and get a contract for any NFT collection, head over to any NFT within the collection. So let's say I went back to the Doodle page here. I can literally click on any and this will work for any. So let's click on this one, for example. If you look at the URL, you have OpenSea.io/assets. This is the contract address. Then the /8400 is not part of it. So this middle part is what you should be copying. As you can see, the 8400 just represents the NFT you've selected on. Now, if we copy that contract address, which I did, and enter it into the contract address box here, as you can see, I've done it before. Then we go ahead and click on check Etherscan function. It will go ahead and open that up in my browser here. So navigate over to the contract address. It'll go to the right contract tab, as you can see. And as you can see, this is for the Doodles contract. So once we're on here, we're going to be using aspects of this to go ahead and populate the fields within the Ethereum tab here. So I'm going to go ahead and pop up my tab like this. So for proxy address, pretty self-explanatory. If you want to go ahead and enter a proxy address to use a proxy with your execution, you can. I'm not going to do it in this video, but you do have the option to do so. When it comes to Etherscan API key, we highly recommend you go ahead and use the API key with your executions. I will leave a link down below to the Etherscan API side of the website. It's completely free and you can get up to 3 API keys for absolutely free, so there's no cost to you. So you may as well go ahead and do it, and all you need is an account. Moving over to the mint function, this is going to be the function that will actually go ahead and mint the NFT. So let's actually look at the contract here. It seems that the mint function is simply just mint. In a lot of cases is going to be that, but in some cases it can vary. So please actually look at the contract and identify it properly. So we're going to go ahead and enter mint. As you can see, I've done this before. The next thing is parameters. Now this is going to be the number of tokens that we're going to be using with this execution, and this essentially means the number of NFTs you want to go ahead and mint. So in this case, I'm going to go ahead and enter 1 because I want to go ahead and mint 1 NFT. Moving over to the mint price, you go ahead and enter the mint price. As you can see, I've done this before, like I've said for the previous boxes here. I'm going to go ahead and say that the mint price is 0.1 Ethereum. Keep in mind it is in Ethereum. Now when it comes to this, make sure you do your own research. Make sure you consult the Discord and get the appropriate information for this, because you need to make sure the mint price is correct when you're doing this execution. Moving over to trigger, I'm going to go ahead and break down this function as there is a lot that goes into it. Now the ability of the trigger function here is to go ahead and trigger the task to start if a specific function on the target contract results in the expected value. So I'm going to go ahead and explain this by going back to the contract here. We're going to go over to the read contract part and we're going to look for the trigger. Now it's pretty simple in my case, but it can vary. I will get into that in just one moment here. We're going to look for it. Give me one moment. So it is sale is active, and as you can see, it's false. Now, when we're going ahead and minting an NFT, obviously this is for testing purposes, but in a real scenario, you would want sale is active to be true. It's currently set to false, so the function here is going to be sale is active, and the expected value will be true because we expect it to be true when the mint starts. So what I would go ahead and type in here, if I wanted to use trigger with this execution, I'd go ahead and type in this. Sale is active as that's the function, and the expected value is true. So that's if I do want to use a trigger. If I go ahead and leave this empty, essentially when you click execute, the task will execute straight away and it won't wait for the function and the expected value. So just to go over this one final time before I move on, as it is a bit complicated, the task will go ahead and trigger based on the trigger you enter here. So the function and the expected value, when it goes from false to true, when the mint is live, then the task will execute. So essentially, if I were to enter the trigger and set up the rest of the task and hit execute, it will essentially just be waiting for the expected value with this function. Now to go ahead and explain what a standby mode is, if I go ahead and enable it, you will see, please make sure there is a trigger value. Now to go ahead and enable the standby mode, there needs to be a trigger value. And essentially what a standby mode is it will activate the trigger function / begin monitoring when it is enabled. So let's say, for example, I go ahead and enter the trigger here. Now I will be able to go ahead and enable standby mode, as you can see. If I go ahead and execute this, all it's going to do is going to say execution triggered, and now you'll go ahead and wait for the expected value. However, if I go ahead and get rid of this and disable the standby mode, so if I go ahead and execute this, you will see that the execution gets triggered, and all it will do is wait for the expected value with that function. However, I can go ahead and actually empty this, and I can go ahead and disable the standby mode, and then I can go ahead and click execute, and essentially it will not wait for the expected value. That is going to go ahead and conclude today's video.